Welcome back to BYoungMinistry.com, to another blog and another podcast. Today we continue our study of the book of the Revelation. We're in chapter 6, verses 15 through 17, which reads, "Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, 'Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it?'" That's Revelation chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. After all that takes place after the opening of the sixth seal, the great earthquake, the sun turning black, the moon turning to blood red, the stars falling out of the sky, and the heavens receding like a scroll, and every mountain and island removed from its place, fear grips all the unsaved people who are upon the earth. The mind does something interesting when we experience fear. The brain tries to find the quickest way out of the discomfort. But the problem is, we cannot escape our court date with the truth. The truth is, we were all conceived sinful, and as a result, the penalty for that which separates us from all that is true and good must be paid, or we will pay the penalty for our sinfulness for eternity. In verses 15 and 16 we read, "Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and to the rocks, 'Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb.'" Notice that in verse 15, all of humanity is broken down into 7 groups: the kings, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, the slave, and the free. They will be certain that all of these cataclysmic happenings are the expression of their separation from God, and his wrath will be poured out upon all humanity. No one will escape. And in the final analysis, it will be a payment that will be final and full. No one will be able to hide from God. No one will escape the horror of the iniquity of our sinfulness. No one will be able to capitalize on race or status, and all who have not received the free payment for their sinful condition will experience such terror as described in today's text. This will happen because they refuse to believe in the Lord Jesus and receive his free gift of forgiveness. Deceived totally by the devil, the unsaved will reach a point where they will not be able to believe. They will be defined by unbiblical fear to the point that they are driven away from all that is true and good. They will sadly feel at home with isolated darkness, but darkness is not a place anyone would consider home. Isolated and all alone, there will be no one present with the unsaved in eternity. This aloneness will not warrant relationship with anyone, and they will experience an eternity of closing in of the madness. This is where unbiblical fear leads. But there is a fear that is healthy. It is the type of fear that directs us back to the Lord. In fact, we read in Proverbs 9:10 that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The Bible uses the word fear at least 300 times in reference to God. Until we understand who God is and develop a reverential fear of him, we cannot have true wisdom. True wisdom comes only from understanding who God is and that he is holy, just, and righteous. We cannot have a biblical understanding of sin until we understand the holiness of God. When we see God for who He really is, we would never think of trying to solve our sin problem ourselves. Biblical fear realizes we can trust God and run to Him. And when we do, we discover the embrace of the loving Father. In Genesis 42, verse 18, Joseph wins his brother's trust when he declares he is a God-fearing man. According to Exodus 18:21, Moses chose leaders to help him on the basis that they feared God and wouldn't take bribes. Leviticus chapter 19, verses 14 and 32 cites the fear of God as a reason to treat the vulnerable well. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 28, the Lord Jesus states this stronger than anyone when He says, "Don't be afraid of those who want to kill your body. They cannot touch your soul. Fear only God, who can destroy both body and soul in hell." And then in 2 Corinthians chapter 7, in verse 1, Paul urges us to work toward complete holiness because we fear God. But for those who choose not to fear the Lord, the great day of His wrath will come, and no unforgiven person will be able to withstand it. You see, someone has to pay the penalty for that which separates us from God, and we can't. We do not have the moral constitution to measure up to the truth. But the penalty the Lord Jesus paid was enough for all who willingly receive His free gift. The difference is the Lord Jesus is the perfect God-man, and His perfect life and sacrifice will always be sufficient. When the Lord Jesus came to earth for the first time, He did not come to judge or to condemn the world. He came to offer the free gift of pardon. But when He returns, He will come to judge the unwilling, the unmoved, and the ungodly. It is my prayer that you will be found trusting in Him, clothed in His righteousness alone on that day when He returns. My friends, I trust this blog and this podcast are helping you in your walk with the Lord. If I can be of further assistance to you, shoot me an email at BYoungMinistry@gmail.com. Hey, have a great day.